Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next hour, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi unveils projects worth nearly $7 billion in the state of Maharashtra, says farmers form the foundation of the vision of a developed India. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar says multilateral issues would be the focus of his visit to Pakistan for an SCO Summit, not bilateral relations. Israel and Hezbollah report more fighting in Lebanon. Israel's ground offensive continues as it weighs its options in its response to Iran's missile attack. And in cricket, India and Bangladesh to square off in the first men's T20 international of a three-match series in Gwalior on Sunday. India has become the fourth economy in the world to cross $700 billion in foreign exchange reserves, along with China, Japan and Switzerland. India's foreign exchange reserves rose by $12.588 billion to a new all-time high of $704.885 billion in September end. The sharp increase in foreign exchange reserves has strengthened India's ability to deal with global economic uncertainties and provided greater stability to its currency in the face of volatile international markets. As per the latest data of Reserve Bank of India, India's gold reserves have increased by $2.184 billion to $65.796 billion. Special drawing rights at the International Monetary Fund increased by 8 million to $18.547 billion. The northern state of Haryana held its assembly election on Saturday with a large number of candidates and voters participating in it. The election was marked by high voter turnout and peaceful proceedings. Take a look at the key highlights from polling day.
The Indian state of Haryana went for assembly polls on Saturday. A total of 1,031 candidates were in fray. Since morning, voters turned up in queues at the polling stations to exercise their right of vote. As per the polling data, 61% voters turnout was recorded till 5 p.m., with New having maximum voting 68.28%. There were more than 2 crore registered voters in the state. Elaborate arrangements were made to ensure free and fair elections across all 20,632 polling stations. 225 companies of security forces were deputed in the state to provide safe election environment. Voting concluded peacefully in the state.
अमन चयन बना के रखने के लिए भी मैं प्रदेशवासियों का तहे दिल से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। साथ में हमारे साथी जो कर्मचारी लगे हैं हर जगह, चाहे वो पोलिंग बूथ पे है, चाहे जिलों में है, चाहे सेक्टर मजिस्ट्रेट के रूप में है, चाहे सुरक्षा कर्मी के रूप से है, चाहे हमारे पुलिस अधिकारी है। मुझे गर्व है इस बात का कि ब्यूरोक्रेसी ने इलेक्शन कमीशन के लीडरशिप में, गाइडेंस में आज एक पीसफुल और बड़े कॉर्डियल एटमॉस्फेयर में और ऐसे माहौल में कि बिल्कुल सौहार्द से बिल्कुल ये हुआ है।
The elections were declared on August 16th, followed by rigorous campaigning by political parties. The results for the Haryana Assembly elections will be declared along with those of Jammu and Kashmir on October 8. Akansha Saksena's report from Haryana.
And Akanksha Saxena joins us from Chandigarh for more. Akanksha, tell us more about the polling. Fill us in on all that happened through the day.
Yeah, I'd like to tell you that the polling started at 7 a.m. in the morning sharp, and there people started coming, and there were long queues first, but then it slowed down, and then later in the day it picked up. So probably in the urban areas, we can say by evening the voting turned to be more than in comparison to the daytime. So if we talk about the urban areas in Gurgaon and Faridabad, we could see that there was very less voting, but then by the end of it, what we were getting the output, the election commission was telling that there are people who would queue up after 4 o'clock, and people who are inside the polling booth would be voting, and after that the final figure would come. As of now, the final figure is 61% polling has been done, but then the final figure, as per the election commission, would be coming at 11:45 p.m. And then I think probably they are saying that it would cross the previous 65-66% of polling which had happened earlier in the elections in Haryana. As far as we talk about that, how did it go? So there were no untoward incidents which were reported, and there was no incidents which would hamper the voting process all over the state. So there were some incidents which happened, but as for collectively, if you talk about the wider picture, then probably there was no untoward incident which was reported in Haryana. And if we talk about the security arrangements have been made. There were very tight security arrangements which were made all through, and all the borders were sealed. And that is how you could see. We just played that TVSN Prasad, Chief Secretary of Haryana, had just thanked everybody, right from the voters to the people who have made the arrangements for the voting, that everything went smooth and everything went effortless because of the efforts put in by everybody.
All right, we'll leave it there. Akanksha Saxena in Chandigarh. Thank you. Appreciate it. Right, now the news. In a day-long visit to the western Indian state of Maharashtra, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's first stop was in Vashim, where he visited the Pohara Devi temple and offered prayers to the Hindu goddess Jagdamba. He paid tributes at the Samadhi of Sant Seva Lal Maharaj and Sant Ram Rao Maharaj in Vashim. The Prime Minister also inaugurated the Banjara Virasat Museum, which celebrates the rich heritage of the Banjara community. He toured the museum and viewed the artifacts on display. Prime Minister Modi launched various initiatives related to the agricultural and animal husbandry sectors worth around 23,300 crore rupees in Vashim. The initiatives included the disbursement of the 18th installment of the PM Kisan Samman Nidhi and dedication of over 7,500 projects under the Agriculture Infrastructure Fund, among others. Addressing the gathering, the Prime Minister slammed the Congress party for being hand in glove with the left-wing extremists.
बीजेपी अपनी नीतियों से वंचित समाज को आगे बढ़ाना चाहती है, जबकि कांग्रेस सिर्फ लूटना जानती है। कांग्रेस गरीब को गरीब बनाकर रखना चाहती है। कमजोर और गरीब भारत कांग्रेस को उसकी राजनीति को बहुत सूट करता है। इसलिए आप सभी को कांग्रेस से बहुत सावधान रहना है। आज कांग्रेस को पूरी तरह से अर्बन नक्सल का गिरोह चला रहा है। कांग्रेस को लगता है कि अगर सब एक हो गए तो देश को बांटने का उनका एजेंडा फेल हो जाएगा। इसलिए हमें आपस में लड़वाना चाहते हैं। पूरा देश देख रहा है कांग्रेस के खतरनाक एजेंडों को विकास सपोर्ट, किसका सपोर्ट मिल रहा है? जो लोग भारत को आगे बढ़ने से रोकना चाहते हैं, वो इन दिनों कांग्रेस के सबसे करीबी दोस्त हैं। इसलिए समय एक होने का है। हमारी एकता ही देश को बचाएगी।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the Mumbai Metro Line 3 on Saturday. This marks the city's first fully underground metro line connecting the Bandra-Kurla complex to RA via JVLR.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday inaugurated Mumbai Metro Line 3, also known as the Colaba-Bandra-Seebs Line, which is city's first fully underground metro. It is designed to improve connectivity between South Mumbai and the western suburbs, extending from Kofparade to Seebs. Phase 1 of this line will be thrown open for commuters from the BKC station to RA JVLR station. Prime Minister Narendra Modi thanked the Japanese government for support in this project.
आज ही आरए से बीकेसी मुंबई की एक्वा लाइन मेट्रो का शुभारंभ भी हो रहा है। इस लाइन का मुंबई के लोग काफी समय से इंतजार कर रहे थे। मैं आज जापान सरकार का भी आभार व्यक्त करना चाहता हूं। जापान ने जापानीज इंटरनेशनल कोऑपरेशन एजेंसी के जरिए इस प्रोजेक्ट में बहुत सहयोग दिया है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also inaugurated Metro Connect 3 mobile app and launched Coffee Table Book at Mumbai venue. He visited model and photo exhibition at the venue after taking the ticket of train. Prime Minister also interacted with women and students who commuted with him on board. In total, Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated and laid the foundation stone for various projects worth over 32,800 crore rupees in Thane. These projects are: Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated RA-JVLR to BKC section of Mumbai Metro Line 3 Phase 1. PM laid foundation stones for Thane Integral Ring Metro Rail project and elevated Eastern Freeway extension. PM laid foundation stone for Navi Mumbai Airport Influence Notified Area or the NANA project. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi also laid the foundation stone for Thane Municipal Corporation. The metro line aims to reduce congestion on Mumbai's overburdened roads, offering a faster and more efficient alternative. With inputs from Shama Mishra, Shishir Shelar, Mihir Makhuri, reporting for DD India.
Prime Minister Modi participated in the Abhijat Marathi language program in Mumbai. The ceremony was attended by various individuals from the fields of art, science, education and literature. People expressed their happiness about Marathi being granted the status of a classical language. During his address, the Prime Minister said that language is not just a means of communication, but also a medium for conveying culture and consciousness.
मराठी साहित्य भारत की वो अनमोल विरासत है जिसमें हमारी सभ्यता के विकास और सांस्कृतिक उत्कर्ष की गाथाएं सुरक्षित है। महाराष्ट्र में मराठी साहित्य के द्वारा ही स्वराज, स्वदेशी, स्वभाषा और स्व संस्कृति की चेतना का विस्तार हुआ। स्वतंत्रता आंदोलन के दौरान शुरू हुए गणेश उत्सव और शिव जयंती के कार्यक्रम, वीर सावरकर जैसे क्रांतिकारियों के विचार, बाबा साहब आंबेडकर का सामाजिक समता आंदोलन, महर्षि कर्वे का महिला सशक्तिकरण अभियान, महाराष्ट्र का औद्योगिकरण, कृषि सुधार के प्रयास, इन सब की प्राण शक्ति मराठी भाषा थी।
Right, moving on, Argentina's Foreign Minister Diana Mondino is paying an official visit to India from the 5th to the 9th of October. During the visit, the minister will co-chair, along with India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, the 7th India-Argentina Joint Commission meeting. She is also likely to meet with other Indian ministers. She is accompanied by a trade delegation and would participate in a business interaction being organized by the Confederation of Indian Industry. She will also have an interaction with the Observer Research Foundation think tank. The visit is taking place in the year when India and Argentina are celebrating 75 years of their diplomatic relations. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Russia takes control of a strategic village in eastern Ukraine. Fire destroys thousands of electric vehicles and components at a Vietnam factory. And jailed Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan's supporters hit the streets of Islamabad.
India is one of the countries most affected by the impacts of climate change. So what can be the solution, and can children become a part of the solution?
We show a picture of the amla berry, for example, and discuss their nutritional value. In this way, they begin to understand the value of different fruits and vegetables, and that's when they realize why it's important to eat these things.
If we convert this 120 million ton that we see into biochar, we see about roughly about 350 million tons of CO2 emission reduction.
We can cultivate and use in a responsible way, and maybe how small-scale community enterprises could start to use it as a way to support their local economy.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. To West Asia now, the conflict between Israel and Lebanon is intensifying with airstrikes and escalating violence causing growing concern. Over the weekend, tensions reached a new high with speculation surrounding the death of a key Hezbollah figure, and nations are scrambling to evacuate their citizens.
The Israel-Lebanon conflict continues to escalate with multiple incidents of airstrikes reported over the weekend. Israeli military said it struck militants from the Iran-backed movement at a mosque. Images released by the Israeli army showed what it says is the Golani Brigade during ground operations in southern Lebanon. While Hezbollah said its fighters were confronting Israeli troops in Lebanon's southern border region, a Lebanese security source said that the potential successor to slain Hezbollah leader Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah has been out of contact since Friday. Iranian foreign minister met with his Syrian counterpart in Damascus. Upon his arrival in Syria, Iranian foreign minister called for Gaza-Lebanon ceasefire.
The most important issue today is the ceasefire, especially in Lebanon and in Gaza. There are initiatives in this regard. There have been consultations that we hope will be successful.
Iranian foreign minister also met with Syrian President Bashar al-Assad during his visit to Damascus. Meanwhile, countries around the world rush to evacuate their citizens from Lebanon. Countries that have ordered for evacuations or are planning to evacuate include Australia, Belgium, Brazil, China, Canada, Cyprus, Denmark, France, Germany, Greece, Italy, Japan, Netherlands, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Russia, Slovakia, South Korea, Spain, Turkey, United Kingdom, and the United States.
The situation in Lebanon, terrible, very bad. But in North Lebanon, be all right. Bit all right, but they start moving from area to area. I don't know what's gonna be.
On the other hand, aid is continuing to flow into Lebanon amidst the crisis. An aid plane from the United Arab Emirates arrived with 55 tons of supplies to assist those affected by the conflict. Planes from the International Committee of the Red Cross, or the ICRC, also arrived in Beirut with 17 metric tons of medical supplies to assist Lebanon's healthcare system.
Today, the International Committee of the Red Cross received around 17 metric tons of medical supplies. This supply is intended to be distributed to support hospitals in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, for this hospital to continue to deliver critical life-saving care to people affected by this escalating conflict.
Amid fear of wider escalation of conflict, the US military said that the United States forces on Friday hit 15 targets in Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen. Images posted on social media on October 4 show the moment a missile strikes the Yemeni capital Sana'a. As the conflict escalates, concerns grow over the potential for further violence. International efforts are being stepped up for ceasefire, but the situation remains fragile. Amish Mahajan's report for DD India.
And from one conflict to another, Russia has taken control of a strategic village in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk region called Zelany Druh. This announcement follows a week of intense military activity. Russian forces reportedly struck key Ukrainian infrastructure, including military industrial sites, energy facilities, and military airports. Meanwhile, Ukrainian forces claim to have repelled multiple Russian attacks, underscoring the ongoing conflict's volatility. As the U.S. presidential election draws near, candidates are making new commitments and new accusations against their rivals, making the campaign targeted and pinpointed to woo the respective electorates. In her Michigan rally on Friday, Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris praised the role of workers' unions and tried to woo the middle class, vowing to work for them. She also accused her rival Donald Trump of not caring for jobs at all.
America lost nearly 200,000 manufacturing jobs when he was president, including tens of thousands of jobs in Michigan. And those losses started before the pandemic, so we're clear. Making Donald Trump one of the biggest losers of manufacturing jobs in American history.
Former U.S. President and Republican candidate Donald Trump was also on his campaign trip in Georgia on Friday. He centered his speech on accusing the Democratic Biden administration of misappropriation of funds.
It's been a terrible response from the White House. They're missing $1 billion that was used for another purpose, and nobody's seen anything like that. No, from that standpoint, it's been terrible.
Amid the heated debates during the campaign, U.S. President Joe Biden has expressed apprehension whether elections would be peaceful. Biden made these remarks during his rare appearance at the White House press briefing on Friday. That was mainly to greet the deal between the Longshoremen's Union and shippers that ended a 3-day strike. But he also chose the occasion to speak about his fear about the election. He said he was not sure about peaceful elections, citing what Republicans had done after the results of the 2020 election when Trump faced the defeat by Biden.
I'm confident it'll be free and fair. I don't know whether it'll be peaceful. The things that Trump has said and the things that he said last time out when he didn't like the outcome of the election were very dangerous. If you notice, I noticed that the vice presidential Republican candidate did not say he'd accept the outcome of the election. They haven't even accepted the outcome of the last election. So I'm concerned about what they're going to do.
For his part, Donald Trump, who was campaigning in Georgia, said that he is just focused on the campaign, hoping that elections will be free and fair.
I don't know anything about what he said. I only can hope that it's going to be free and fair, and I think in this state it will be, and I hope in every state it will be, and I think we're going to do very well, but right now we're focused on this. We're not focused on the election.
1 week after Hurricane Helene slammed into Florida, the U.S. government is working round the clock with dozens of partners to get help to people as quickly as possible. An army of private volunteers, including helicopter pilots, are helping deliver supplies and rescue the stranded victims. Across the southeast, hundreds of people are still reported missing. Helene's destruction covers a huge area, and it's taking time to navigate damaged roads and reach communities that are cut off. U.S. President Joe Biden said on Friday that the country must address the damages caused by Hurricane Helene across several states. He said that it's going to cost a lot of money and probably have to ask the Congress for more money for Helene recovery.
Simple fact is we've gone from economy in crisis to literally having the strongest economy in the world. And but we've got more work to do. We've got more work to do to deal with the things I've just mentioned, and we're going to have to deal with unforeseen cost of what this hurricane is going to cost. It's going to cost a lot of money. And I'm going to probably have to ask the Congress before we leave for more money to deal with some of those problems.
Meanwhile, Trump criticized the White House response to Hurricane Helene as quote-unquote terrible. Previously, Trump has claimed that aid intended for flood-ravaged North Carolina was being spent on people that should not be in the country.
Our hearts break for the more than 200 American families who have lost their lives already. Officially 200, and that number unfortunately is going to be going up. It's one of the deadliest storms in American history.
Moving on, Pakistan's capital Islamabad and neighboring Rawalpindi were locked down Friday with major roads blocked, mobile services suspended as jailed ex-Prime Minister Imran Khan called on supporters to hit the streets. Police fired tear gas as they clashed with supporters of Imran Khan who were holding an anti-government rally in defiance of a ban on congregating in the city. Authorities sealed off Islamabad and blocked cell phone services to prevent the gathering, with the city on high alert in the lead-up to a series of high-level diplomatic events, including a visit from the Indian Foreign Minister. It was the latest in a series of protest rallies since last month to press for Khan's release and agitate against the ruling coalition, which the PTI calls illegitimate, saying it was formed after a fraudulent election. 6 Pakistani soldiers, including a high-ranking officer, have died in clashes that erupted with Islamist terrorists in Pakistan's tribal district of North Waziristan that borders Afghanistan, the military said in a statement on Saturday. Lieutenant Colonel Muhammad Ali Shaukat, who the Pakistani army said was leading the troops in the encounter with terrorists, was among those killed on Friday night, local time. A major fire incident was reported at a factory in Vietnam's Lang Son province. The fire destroyed around 5,000 electric vehicles and components stored in DK Bikes warehouse. The firm manufactures electric bicycles and electric motorcycles. Fortunately, no casualties were reported as firefighters battled the blaze. Vietnamese authorities have now ordered an inquiry into the incident. Still to come on DD India News Hour. An expert take on India's participation at an SCO Summit in Pakistan. And India's External Affairs Minister says Prime Minister Narendra Modi's effort to end the Ukraine conflict has been hailed across the world.
This is a golden era of the Indian chess, with both the men's and women's team winning gold at the Olympiad. What do you think is driving this incredible success for Indian chess on the global stage right now?
Some level, it was always bound to happen. And India has come very close in some Olympiads, and then they unfortunately couldn't get the gold medal. But this year, I think, was the golden year, and we managed to get it.
How you maintain your focus, your composure during the tournament?
Just try to focus on one thing at a time. Helps me get into the groove, get into the mode. Focusing on the current moment really helps.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. A quick recap of the headlines. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi unveils projects worth nearly $7 billion in the state of Maharashtra. Says farmers form the foundation of the vision of a developed India. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar says multilateral issues would be the focus of his visit to Pakistan for an SCO Summit, not bilateral relations. And Israel and Hezbollah report more fighting in Lebanon. Israel's ground offensive continues as it weighs its options in its response to Iran's missile attack. A Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit will take place on 15th and 16th October in Pakistan. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar will lead an Indian delegation. He says his visit would solely focus on multilateral discussions. Syed Absarul Hassan reports.
This time, Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO meeting is taking place on October 15-16 in Pakistan's Islamabad. India hosted the last SCO meeting in May 2023 in Goa. Pakistan's Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari visited India for the SCO meeting. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar will travel to Islamabad to attend the SCO meeting. At a press briefing on Friday, India's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Randhir Jaiswal confirmed that Jaishankar will lead the Indian delegation to Pakistan.
The External Affairs Minister will lead our delegation to Pakistan to participate in the SCO Summit, which will be held in Islamabad on 15th and 16th, I understand, of October.
While addressing Sardar Patel lecture on governance on Saturday, Dr. Jaishankar clarified that his visit to Pakistan is purely for multilateral discussions.
I, expect there would be a lot of media interest because the very nature of the relationship is such, and I think we'll deal with it. But I do want to say it will be for a multilateral event. I mean, I'm not going there to discuss India-Pakistan relations. I'm going there to be a good member of the SCO, but since I'm a courteous and civil person, I will behave myself accordingly.
SCO is a political union of countries formed to discuss security and economic matters in Central Asia. Its origins lie in the Shanghai Five, formed in 1996 and consisting of China, Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan. On 9th June 2017, India and Pakistan were inducted as full member in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization in Astana, the capital of Kazakhstan. This was the first ever expansion of the organization since its formed in 2001. SCO was created by China, Russia and 4 Central Asian countries in 2021 as a countermeasures to limit the influence of Western alliances such as NATO. At present, it had 10 members: India, Iran, Kazakhstan, China, Kyrgyzstan, Pakistan, Russia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan and Belarus. Afghanistan and Mongolia hold observer status. The SCO has 14 dialogue partners: Azerbaijan, Armenia, Bahrain, Egypt, Cambodia, Qatar, Kuwait, the Maldives, Myanmar, Nepal, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Turkey and Sri Lanka. The role of India is paramount at SCO. It has opened up gates for collaboration for India in civil nuclear energy, partnership in the natural gas, petrochemical sectors, and liaison in the space sector with member countries. India has always advocated greater convergence on counterterrorism and has successfully raised the issue of a state-sponsored terrorism. India strategically utilized the SCO forum to improve relations with Central Asian republics, countering Chinese dominance in regional connectivity projects. In 2020, New Delhi provided a $1 billion credit for regional connectivity and started connectivity projects like Tajikistan-Dushanbe Shortcut Highway. Syed Absarul Hassan reporting for TT India.
Professor Swaran Singh joins us. Professor Singh teaches at the Jawaharlal Nehru University in New Delhi. Professor Singh, welcome to DD India News App. Now, Minister Jaishankar says he is not going to Pakistan for talks on bilateral issues, but to attend an SCO multilateral summit. So, nothing changes insofar as India-Pakistan relations are concerned?
I think this is a very fine and very important distinction that Foreign Minister has sought to make, that India's commitment to multilateralism, India's commitment to Shanghai Cooperation Organization stands as it is. Obviously, Shanghai Cooperation Organization is the world's largest regional organization, one of the most multilateral organizations. As your report just mentioned, a large number of 10 members, observers, special invitees, but it also has very special relationship with several other multilateral organizations. So it's a very important organization, and India's commitment to multilateralism stands. But at the same time, of course, the standard line on Pakistan is that there is no clear indication of Pakistan having given up on use of terrorism vis-a-vis India, and we have the same policy. Terror and talk will not go together. So I think it's a fantastic diplomaties that one is hearing from the foreign minister, that it's not a bilateral visit. It's a visit to reflect India's commitment to multilateral Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Maybe some people in Pakistan media have been mentioning that they were hoping Prime Minister Modi is going to attend this, meeting of heads of government. But they should know that historically, since 2017, Prime Minister Modi has always attended heads of state meeting, which is the highest body meeting. In fact, Pakistani prime ministers likewise also only attend heads of state meeting and not heads of government meeting. So this misplaced expectation, I think it may be why the foreign minister needed to explain that as to why foreign minister is going and how, in what capacity is going to attend it.
Now, by way of context, if I may quickly inform our viewers that this would be the first ministerial visit from India to Pakistan since the year 2015. Now, Professor Singh, you spoke about terrorism and extremism in that context, and that gives me a perfect segue into my next question to you. How do you view Pakistan hosting Zakir Naik, a controversial Islamic preacher? He is someone who is wanted in India for alleged money laundering and inciting extremism through hate speech.
I think the even stronger example remains Bin Laden being given sanctuary in Pakistan. So Pakistan has been host of several such characters who the whole world has sort of designated as terrorists. And Zakir's visit is just, I think, in that line, similarly showcasing Pakistan's inclination to constantly, either give sanctuaries or give some kind of encouragement to people who other countries, including India, for example, may not be, very comfortable in Pakistan encouraging such outfits or individuals. And I think it will be an important occasion here because Shanghai Cooperation Organization fundamentally focuses on countering terrorism and energy security. And obviously, I'm sure this issue will crop up. I'm sure either in media or in some conversations that External Affairs Minister will have with people there. And I think it's a bad timing for Pakistan to host such an individual from India soon, on the eve of, in that sense, of world's largest regional organization that primarily focuses on extremism, separatism, and terrorism. This could boomerang, I suppose, on Pakistani hosts in that sense.
Indeed. Another, issue I want to raise is, Professor Singh, do you think the conclusion of an election in Jammu Kashmir sends the right message not only to Pakistan but the rest of the world as well?
I think that, again, India has always held as free and fair possible elections in Jammu and Kashmir. And that is how India has had a very different kind of imagination around the world as to how India has handled Kashmir issue and how Pakistan has handled Kashmir issue. India has always allowed popularly elected governments to rule in Jammu and Kashmir. Whereas in case of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, we know the kind of difficulties people have faced there, the kind of representation that they have not been able to produce or allow them to govern themselves. So this is quite in line with India's tradition of respecting and celebrating democracy, that a successful conclusion of elections in Jammu and Kashmir, again on eve of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, is I think a message to Pakistan which clearly means that, India is a country that most Kashmiris are going to stay with and want to stay with. And they find that they have as much of freedom, as much of rights as any other Indian state or Indian citizen has. And that again on eve of Shanghai Cooperation Organization being hosted in Islamabad is an indication of where India stands and what India does and what Pakistan does. And in that sense, I'm sure several of these questions are very likely to come up either, on the sidelines of meetings, or I'm sure media would also be covering some of these issues.
Indeed, and going back to the issue of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, Professor Singh, how do you view India's participation at the summit? What is SCO's relevance, if any, to India's foreign relations?
Very clearly, Shanghai Cooperation Organization is, I keep mentioning, world's largest regional organization. Geographically, it covers about 80% of Eurasia, 32% of global GDP in purchasing power terms. There is great excitement. Countries like Bangladesh, Vietnam, some other countries, Turkey, are interested in joining Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which shows that it has enormous efficacy and attraction as a multilateral organization. And since India has from the very beginning been a strong flag bearer of multilateralism in international relations, India clearly stands out as an important country participating in these. And I think we recently had Iran joining it and Belarus joining this year. Possibly some other countries are also, possibly likely to join the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, making it already from 30 plus to much more countries becoming integral part of either as observers or as special invitees or dialogue partners or as members. So since it is one of the rather effective and large multilateral regional organizations, and India being really the largest population country, the buzzing growing economy from fifth largest to be soon third largest, in that sense the focus of the SCO on security in terms of terrorism, countering terrorism and energy security is again very integral issues to India. India's initiatives in international solar lands and biofuels and other sort of disaster resistance infrastructure and so on have made India a very visible and very attractive candidate in participating in a multilateral forum like Shanghai Cooperation Organization. And I'm sure that a very, very erudite and articulate external affairs minister will make his presence really felt. And he's always been in all, let me say, so far heads of government meetings of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, it's been invariably either the external affairs minister or defense minister representing India. So there is nothing different here in this case, except as you mentioned, after a long period of time, this is going to be a first ministerial level meeting, visit from India to Pakistan. And on 12th of September, when Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal was supposed to go, we saw that Commerce Secretary had gone in his place. So that is, I think, also significant to see how the first ministerial meeting after a long period of time, particularly of External Affairs Minister to Islamabad, what it means. Does it make any difference for bilateral relations?
Indeed. Professor Singh, pleasure as always to talk to you. Thank you for joining us and sharing your thoughts and insights with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated. India's External Affairs Minister, as Jaishankar says, Prime Minister Modi's efforts to end the Ukraine conflict has been widely hailed across the world. Speaking at a conclave by Pratidin Time in New Delhi, the minister says that much of the world supports India's efforts, believing that there is a Prime Minister who has the ability to talk to both sides.
What I saw in the UN, and after that I went to Washington as well, much of the world supports what we did. I mean, people are very happy today. They at least say, okay, you have a person like Prime Minister Modi, who, because you can count on your fingertips today, who has the ability to go to both capitals. And that kind of communication, because see, Prime Minister Modi cannot go every time to another capital and meet. So sometimes, it could be NSA Doval, it could be me. I've also spoken to some of the foreign ministers, including of those two countries concerned. So I think it's a good thing that we are doing, and I can tell you one thing, the world is with us.
All right, now take a look at what else is making news in India. India successfully test-fired and indigenously developed very short-range air defense system missiles at the Pokhran firing ranges in Jaisalmer, Rajasthan. The Defense Research and Development Organization conducted 3 tests as part of ongoing development trials. Lieutenant General Prashant Srivastava has assumed command of Indian Army's Jammu and Kashmir Chinar Corps, taking over from Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai. Junior doctors at Kolkata's RG Kaur Medical College and Hospital held a protest on Friday. They issued a 24-hour ultimatum to the state government to fulfill their demands, failing which they would begin an indefinite hunger strike. The holy city of Tirupati in the southern Indian state of Andhra Pradesh experienced heavy rains that lashed several areas of the city. And still to come on DD India News Hour. The World Health Organization lists the first mpox in vitro diagnostic kit under its emergency use listing procedure. The 12th Japan Festival opens in Gujarat's Ahmedabad city. And in cricket, England captain Ben Stokes to miss the opening test against Pakistan.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. In an important move to improve global access to mpox testing, the World Health Organization has listed it the first mpox in vitro diagnostic under its emergency use listing procedure. In a statement, the WHO said the approval for emergency use of the Helene MPXV assay manufactured by Abbott Molecular Incorporation will be pivotal in expanding diagnostic capacity in countries facing mpox outbreaks. In mid-August 2024, the WHO declared the surge of mpox cases in several parts of Africa as a public health emergency of international concern. India's former President Ramnath Kovind on Saturday attended the 30th Lal Bahadur Shastri Memorial Lecture at the National Museum in New Delhi. Speaking at the event, former President highlighted the benefits of one nation, one election. He said simultaneous elections will have long-term benefits including better governance, policy stability and many more. Take a listen.
Our country would greatly benefit from adopting simultaneous elections in its steady march towards a Viksit Bharat. Simultaneous elections will have long-term benefits such as better governance, policy stability, social cohesiveness, economic growth, and enhanced global competitiveness. It has the potential to be a foundational reform for a more inclusive and prosperous future.
The Consul General of Japan in Mumbai, Koji Yagi, inaugurated the 12th Japan Festival in Ahmedabad. The 12th Japan Festival unfolds a unique experience to savor the flavor of popular folk dances of Japan and Gujarat, two regions which, though geographically distant, share a rich tapestry of cultural similarities. While UNESCO added traditional Japanese folk dances, popularly known as Furyu Odori, to its intangible cultural heritage of humanity in November 2022, the globally celebrated Gujarati Garba got similar recognition in December of 2023.
This is the 12th Festival of Japan and the first occasion for joint collaboration with full participation of Japanese community. Together with they demonstrate the good friendship between Japan and Gujarat, and this kind of the activities, I'm 100% sure that contributes a lot to the further strengthening the relationship.
And now to all the news from the world of sport. India and Bangladesh will square off in the first men's T20 international of the three-match series in Gwalior on Sunday. India would hope to continue its winning streak following their 2-0 win in the recently concluded Test series. India's stars who were part of the Test series have been rested. However, the men in blue have a star-studded lineup consisting of captain Surya Kumar Yadav, Hardik Pandya, Sanju Samson, Arshdeep Singh and others. On the other hand, Bangladesh skipper Najmul Hossain Shanto promised to play aggressive brand of cricket. Overall, India and Bangladesh have played 14 T20 international matches against each other. India have won 13 of them. International cricket will return to Gwalior after 14 years and fans can expect a run feast in the first match. Opener Beth Mooney led Australia to a commanding 6-wicket win over Sri Lanka in the Women's T20 World Cup 2024 opener in Sharjah. Mooney scored an unbeaten 43 of 38 balls, helping Australia recover after early wickets while chasing a modest target of 93 earlier. Megan Schill took 3 wickets for just 12 runs and Sophie Molyneux contributed with 2 for 20, ensuring Sri Lanka was limited to a sub-par total. Opting to bat first, Sri Lanka faced early setbacks with Nilashika Silva top scoring with an unbeaten 29 runs as the team managed only 93 for 7. They hit just 4 boundaries throughout the innings. This was Sri Lanka's second loss of the tournament, having lost to Pakistan on Thursday. Coco Gauff fought back from a set-down to battle into the China Open final on Saturday, setting up a showdown with party pooper Carolina Muchova. The American former US Open champion beat Spain's Paula Badosa 4-6, 6-4, 6-2 to close in on an 8th title. 6th-ranked Gauff has struggled to perform in recent months and split with coach Brad Gilbert after ending her defense at US Open defense in the last 16. In the other semi-final match, Carolina Muchova beat Qingqing Zheng 6-3, 6-4. The Czech is the lowest-ranked player to reach the Beijing final since the tournament began in 2004. Gauff has won both their previous 2 meetings, most recently in the US Open semi-finals last year. Now she is on her way to clinch her first major crown. England captain Ben Stokes will miss the opening test against Pakistan in Multan, which begins on Monday because of a hamstring injury. Batter Ollie Pope, who led England during the home series against Sri Lanka, will lead the tourists in the match. Stokes was not sure if he would play the second test starting 15th October. England announced their playing 11, which includes seamer Bryden Carse, who will be making his test debut. Left-arm spinner Jack Leach has made a return to the tests. In football, Diego Jota's early goal helped Liverpool to extend their lead at the top of the Premier League after a 1-0 win at Crystal Palace on Saturday. Arne Slot has now won 9 of his first 10 games since succeeding Jurgen Klopp. Victory came at a cost for Liverpool as goalkeeper Alisson Becker injured in the closing stages ahead of the key matches. The defeat leaves Palace still in the bottom 3 with just 3 points from their opening 7 games. Liverpool will face Chelsea, Arsenal, Aston Villa and Manchester City in their next 6 Premier League matches. 4-time Grand Slam winner Carlos Alcaraz made short work of China's Shan Jun Cheng on Saturday, beating him in straight sets to breeze into the 3rd round of Shanghai Masters. Alcaraz broke in the first game and looked comfortable throughout his 6-2, 6-2 victory. Teenager Shang was unable to make much headway against the world number 2. The Spaniard came into the tournament on a 9-match winning streak, having just won the China Open in Beijing. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of DD India News Hour. You can get all the latest news and updates on the DD India mobile app. It's available on Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download it. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. You can also check out our website ddindia.co.in. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. For all of us here in New Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.